Hey Doug, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. We saw Brandon come out briefly a little bit. How's he doing? And how any other bumps and bruises had he yesterday?
Yeah, Brandon came out just because he had he on the one of the screen passes there. Um, he just re-aggravated his shoulder that's been kind of bothering him all year. So he came out for a couple of plays, and then the other time he came out, the bridge of his nose was cut and was bleeding, so he had to come out to get that dressed and fixed before he could go back in the game. Everybody else came out relatively clean, just our normal bumps and bruises. But everybody, it's actually, quite honestly, knock on wood, one of our healthier games.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Please raise your hand if you have a question for Coach Peterson. We can move to Jamal.
Hey, Coach. I know it's kind of you're going into this last game. What would it say if you were able to go 4-2 in the division, even though this hasn't been maybe the outcome of the year you won overall?
Well, it says we need to do better outside the division. Quite honestly, yeah, I mean, we'd be proud. We'd be proud to be 4-2. I think it'd be 3 years in a row that we were 4-2 in our division. But I think that is sort of it would be great, but at the same time, knowing the disappointment that we've had this season, kind of I think that overshadows the fact that we'd be 4-2. But I think it does mean that we finished the season the right way, like I said yesterday after the game, and that would be something to really hang our hats on, as we move forward.
And as you kind of go into this last week, is there anything you can kind of? I know it's tough to look back at the season because you're still in the middle of it, but you had maybe over those first 2 years felt like things were moving in the right direction. This year almost feels like a step back. Was there something that you can feel that swung the pendulum? Was it just young players kind of learning about the league and needing to take some of those lumps?
Yeah, it's sometimes that's it's difficult to answer, because you can I think I don't want to put it all on, you don't put it all on the players, you don't put it all on the coaches. I think we're all in this thing together. We got to look at this thing, I think, big picture, and kind of see why. I know there were some mistakes made, in game. There were mistakes made by coaches in game. So everybody has a hand in that, and those are things that we can, learn from and fix moving forward. I think just from my standpoint as the head coach, I think too, you got to keep educating your players. You got to keep talking to your players. You got to in the off season, you got to put them in these situations. You got to put them in different scenarios throughout training camp and really, teach them and understand that everything that we do matters. I think yesterday is a great example of that. I think guys were in position to make plays yesterday. Jordan Jefferson gets his hand up, tip pass, Devin Lloyd, interception, short field. What do you know? Next thing you know, offense is in the end zone or scoring points. So that's just one situation, but that's what needs to take place, right? That's the complementary aspect of football. And I think when we look back on this season, I think it was kind of the offense and the defense not, if the defense played great one day, the offense played poorly, and the offense played great one day, the defense played poorly, and we didn't all put that together. And I think yesterday was a great example of everybody, doing their jobs and executing. And was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but at the same time, I thought both sides of the ball played well, and I think that's what you got to look at. I think that's something that we can lean on and teach from, moving forward.
Thanks, Coach.
But
Mark, followed by Brent.
Hi, Doug. Hey, we talk a lot about culture and identity, and those get probably enhanced or exasperated in losing seasons. Do you feel like they are overrated and maybe are dictated by winning?
I think winning has a part in it. I don't think it's everything though. I don't think it is. I think, okay, take a look at our season. Not what we wanted, right? You know,
Right.
what are we, 4 wins, 12 losses?
4 and 12. Yeah.
4 and 12. Thank you. But okay, you take 4 and 12 and you would look at us and go, they don't play like a 4 and 12 team, right? They're still fighting to the end. We got 9 one-score losses this year.
3 and 9. Yeah.
You know, which is extremely hard. So, you know, it's a team that continues to compete. It's a team that continues to fight to the end. We've obviously suffered our share of losses. Injuries that have, you know, you lose your starting quarterback, your tight end, your 2 of your top receivers. Things just sort of compound just a little bit. But I think winning helps it. But I think losing can magnify it. Meaning it can magnify it negatively or it can magnify it positively. And I do believe that in this case, it's actually been more positive from that standpoint. Guys are still fighting. Guys are still battling. They're playing for one another, playing with a lot of pride. And again, I think you saw that yesterday.
Thank you. Better answer than the question. I appreciate that.
You bet.
What else is new, Mark?
Followed by D-Rock.
Exactly.
Doug, how much has this season beat you up? And where does it kind of compare to, you've been in this league a long time, just from an expectation to what you guys have gone through and delivered, and how much does that weigh on the guy in charge of it?
You know, I'd be lying if I said it didn't bother me. I really felt coming out of camp that we had an opportunity, that we had the makings to be a really good competitive football team, and I'm not saying, you know, you're playing for the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I think you're playing for playoff spot. You're playing for the AFC South title. I think you're competitive that way. You're one of the top teams in the AFC. That was my feeling, and that was our expectation coming out of camp. And then to look back now to, you know, to see where we are and the struggles we've had, you know, it's disappointing, and everybody's disappointed. Everybody feels it, you know. Obviously I'm the one in charge of it, so, you know, I might take it harder than others, you know, because I feel like that, you know, if you're going to put your hands on something, you want it to be positive. You want it to be better than when you started. Do I feel like 3 years in, I still feel like we've created something here that is positive and it is heading in the right direction. I say that though, and it's tough because then why doesn't it translate on the field, right? And why doesn't these, you know, why don't these losses that we've had translated into wins? And so that's what you got to look at, and that's why you keep coaching. That's why you keep playing, you know, to figure this thing out. I think together, go through the good times and go through the bad times. This league can, if you let it, I'm telling you that if you let it, this league can beat you up, right? This league can burn you out. This league it's tough. It's tough to coach. It's tough to play. And I choose not to let it. I choose to bring energy every day, you know, with the team. I choose to be positive and encouraging, and at the same time be hard. You got to show the good, you got to show the bad, and that's the only way I think we can work our way out of, you know, the situation we're in.
You know, everybody in the league is searching for continuity. I mean, we've been around this a long time too. How important is that? And do you think where this organization is at, from Trevor to You're going to have, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that are under contract or that will be here in 2025 as well. I know this is kind of like asking you is this a defense of coming back in 25 for you? But I mean, is continuity important for this thing to get where it needs to go?
Yes. I believe that continuity is the only way that you can only kind of get it fixed, I think. Sometimes you learn, even as a player, go back to like when I was a player, and even players today, you got to think when you're a free agent, you have an opportunity to stay with your current team or go somewhere else. You got to weigh the pros and cons of both, right? Am I going into a better situation than what I currently have? And I think you look at where we are and the type of players that we have and the pieces that we have. Look, do we need to improve in all areas, coaches and play? Yeah, we need to improve, and we need to continually enhance, this football team. And again, that's coaches and players. That's not just all on players. That's coaches as well. And but at the same time, in order to kind of work out of tough situations, I think the consistency, the continuity, you're in it together. You know exactly how people think, how people operate, the communication level, all of that. All of that, I think, is positive in a direction that you're trying to go. I think it'd be different too if you saw people throw in the towel a month ago, right? Or say, you always hear coaches losing a locker room, right? Then I think that's a different situation. I think that's a different story. I think that's a different set of circumstances. I still personally, I just don't feel that here. I don't think that's the case here. It was evident yesterday by the way the guys fought and battled right to the end, the joy in the locker room at the end, the camaraderie, the high fives, the hugs. I mean, that's not a team that's quitting, right? That's not a team that's just throwing in a white towel or waving a white flag. It's a team that's trying to, work its way out of a hole that they've dug.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Last one, D-Rock.
Hey, Doug, how do you view the one-score games? Is there an element of these things eventually even out, whether it's over a 2, 3, 4-year period? And is that what makes them so tough to handle or to deal with this year?
I do think they tend to kind of work themselves out. I think as a football team, we need to learn from them. We need to find the reasons why. If it comes down to, it's coaches and players. So if it comes down to a decision I make, I got to be better for that decision to help our team win. If it comes down to a player making a play, he's got to make that play to help our team win. So it goes hand in hand. So we got to look at all of that. And yes, I do believe that those things will flip. And when they do flip, and the other thing too, I think once our guys understand the importance of, I think, what it takes, what it looks like to win, then there becomes consistency in that. And then there becomes the fact that you're winning year in and year out. And again, that starts with me, right? As the leader, it starts with me. And then that's my message to the team. And then it goes to your quarterback and all your top leaders, right? On your football team. And so, I think it can flip. I think it can, turn in a positive and make us better.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's everyone. Thanks, Coach.